God bless these two beautiful little boys. They are angels and victims of a heinous crime at the hands of their parents that adopted them, directed to their children. And that's what makes it even more horrific, because now you have 4 additional victims who now have to go through the rest of their lives with this trauma. They've effectively ruined their 2 biological children and their other 2 adopted children's lives forever. And that's another thing that we don't take into account here. You know, we're caught up on Sincere and Classic, Orrin and Orson West, but these other 4 children are now permanently damaged for the rest of their lives. So there's a lot more to this.
Ron, what was it? The oldest child at the time was either 12 or 13 years old?
I'm unsure of it, because there was so many. I heard under that age. I heard over. So I'm not really sure. I'm going to get with Roe and get the complete ages before we talk on it. Mm-hmm. But we know that they were up and above 6, 7, 8. Close to into the teen years, perhaps. But again, it doesn't matter when a child is at that 7 or 8 year age. They remember these things. It's hard to kind of get that out. So
I would just be careful. I mean, protecting the anonymity of these kids. I mean,
right. I don't know.
They're gonna have to deal with so much to begin with. Not to now have, we've identified them in some way or in enough detail that somebody figures out.
Yeah.
No.
I just want to know for my own self now that Ed brought it up, and it was a very good point, to bring that up, because these are kids that are going to have to, again, go their whole entire life with this horrific act on their minds. And
well, if the state of California is doing their job right, they should have been in counseling immediately after the information came from them.
Yeah, I would hope so. So again,
that also leads, the question about a trial. Putting these kids through a trial and testifying, and I mean this is something that I think should be a factor to consider and try to work something out and resolve this case. I mean, I know everyone wants the worst possible penalty for these people, but you got to think about these kids.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. It's happened before. If the DA makes a deal, hey, give up where you deposited the bodies, and we'll reduce the charges, or and then plead guilty, and we'll reduce the charges.
Right. And I want to just point out, Jennifer Noble says, and we know this because we spoke about this before we started tonight. 2 of the children out of the 4 are actually their biological children. The other 2 are adopted. And we had discussions about the adoption for money. And Dustin, I know that you know about that conversation real well. Kern County, DCYF, and in Bakersfield, there's lots of different things that are said about what goes on within those agencies. We don't know. We're not attached to them. I don't know anything about them. But what I'm saying is there's been conversations in California City, in Bakersfield, and everywhere in between Kern County about people exploiting the system. There's probably very good foster and adoptive parents out there. I know of many myself. But what I'm saying is some people try to manipulate the system and get over. And that's the unfortunate part.